Hello students, good morning. I hope the test was good for all of you. You understood the every questions and written down the correct answers. From today we will start a new chapter number 9 from your textbook, that is force and laws of motion. Force and laws of motion, that is chapter number 9 from your textbook. We will start it from today. So in previous chapter 8 motion, we studied about motion on a straight line with its physical quantities, or its in terms of its position, in terms of its velocity, and in terms of its acceleration. By these terms we studied motion, and we concluded that there are two kinds of motion, that is either it is non-uniform or it is uniform motion. But we don't know that what is the cause of motion, or what brings about motion. What is that cause which keeps an object in motion, or which starts motion of an object? So in this chapter we will study about these questions, that why does the speed of an object change with time. We studied that speed of an object change with time. So why does this happen? Do all motion requires a cause? What is the nature of this cause of motion? We will study about these questions in our chapter number 9, that is force and laws of motion. So for many centuries this question, cause of motion, was unsolved or puzzle for scientists and philosophers. Like a ball on a ground, if you hit this ball with stick or leg or bat, anything, if you hit this ball on a ground, even it is a small hit, it will move on this ground, but it will not move forever. It will stop somewhere. So by this we can say that the natural state of any object is rest. Why we can say that? Because if we hit this ball, it will start to move, but it will not move forever. It will stop somewhere. So we can say that if it stops here, then its natural state is rest. But this belief was proven wrong, or you can say that this belief just remained until two scientists, that is Galilei, it's the name of scientist, and next, that is you know very well, Isaac Newton. These two scientists, they develop an entirely different approach to understand motion. These two scientists develop a different approach, or different, they said some different things than this belief. We believed that natural state is of rest for any object, but after these two scientists, this belief was changed. So let us study what these two scientists does with motion, or what is it that cause the motion, or what is its natural state. In our everyday life, we observe that some effort is required to put a stationary object in motion or to stop a moving object. If there is a object like this ball, we need some effort to make this ball moving, or if it is moving on this line, we should make an effort to stop the motion of this object. So by this we can say that to put any object in motion or to stop motion of any object, we do require some effort. This effort we see as it muscular effort, because either we are pushing this ball to make it in motion, either we are pulling this ball to make it in motion, or either we hit this ball to make it in motion. So these three phenomena can be cause motion of an object or can stop a moving object. So pushing, pulling and hit, these all can be called as a external force. These are the force which makes this object in motion. So pushing, pulling and hit, these are the force. So this force is never been tested or never been seen or never been felt by any of us, but we have seen the effect of this force. We have seen the effects of this force when it is applied on a object. This can be described by some figures given in your textbook, figure 9.1 and 9.2. In figure 9.1, these three forces are shown. Like if you go to a mall, you take a trolley to keep your things which you have just bought. So this trolley needs to be pushed to keep it moving. If this is the trolley, we have to push this to keep it moving. Or let us say that there is a table in which there is this small drawer. If you want to open it, you have to pull the drawer. So you can say that when you pull this drawer, it starts moving or it acquires motion. So you see this pulling or this pushing, or if you are playing hockey and you hit this ball, this ball will start moving. So pulling, pushing or hitting, these all are forces which keeps an object in motion or which starts the motion of an object. In previous chapter, we have studied that velocity is nothing but change in speed with direction, and we know that to change this speed, if you are driving a motorcycle at 40 km speed, if you want to change its speed up to 60 km, you have to apply a force, that is you have to accelerate. Then if you accelerate, the engine will give more force and it will change its speed from 40 km to 60 km. Or if you want to change the direction of any object, if a bowler is bowling a ball and here a batsman is hitting this ball, so you see to change the direction, ball is coming from this direction, and if he wants to throw it on the cover side, he has to apply force on this ball to change its direction from this to this. So you can say that force can be used to change the magnitude of velocity, or you also know that force can change the shape and size of object. Like in your textbook, figure number 9.2 shows that if there is a spring like this, you have all seen these springs. Now this is the spring. If you apply force and pull this spring from both of the sides, you pull this both the strings, so you will observe that this spring will change its shape like this. So you see here, force can also change a object's state. Like if there is a balloon full of gas, you see it is round, but you apply force with both of your hands on both of the side of a balloon, you will see that this round shape will be converted to this oblong shape. So force can change the magnitude of velocity, that is its speed or direction, and also change the shape and size of an object. So let us study what is this force, or is there are any kinds of force. So that is our next topic, first topic of this chapter, which is balanced and unbalanced force. Balanced and unbalanced force. This can be also illustrated by some figures which are given in your textbook. For example, let's see figure 9.3. It shows that there is a wooden box placed on this table. This is the table, and there is a wooden box placed on this table. Now there are two strings attached to this wooden box. Let us say that this string is Y and this string is X. Now if you pull the X string, you are pulling this X string, so you will observe that this box will start moving in this direction. If you pull Y string, it will start moving in this direction. So force is reason for this motion. But if you apply equal force on both of these strings, you applied equal force, you are pulling this X and Y string at the same time with equal force, so you will observe that this wooden box will not move. So this force, equal force at same time, this force can be called as balanced force. It is balanced from both of the sides because we are applying equal force at the same time on both of these strings. So when equal force is applied on an object at the same time, this force can be called as balance because it is balanced on both the sides. Nothing is higher or lower. You are applying force equally on both of these strings. So this force can be called as balanced force. But before, when you pulled only this string and didn't touch this string, you only pulled X string and object started moving. So this was unbalanced force because it was applying on the from the one side only. This side was remained untouched. So this was unbalanced force. So you can say that unbalanced force is responsible for the motion, or unbalanced force is the cause of motion, while balanced force will not create motion. let us understood this by a different activity. Let us say that there is a box or carton present on the floor. This box is present on a floor and a boy and a girl are giving force on this box. They are giving, let us say, first small force on this box to move by pushing this box. Now we know that this box is present on a surface. Let us say that the surface is rough, or it is rough, and the base of this box is also rough. This base is rough, so you will see that here friction will present. Now what is friction? You may be heard of this term friction. Friction is a force that arises between two surfaces if these surfaces are in contact. So friction will arise when two surfaces are in contact. It will arise in any situation if two forces are in contact. If you can hold this pen, it is because of friction between this surface of your finger and surface of this pen. So friction will arise when they start pushing. Friction is there, so friction is also a kind of force. So you will see that force is given in both of the directions. Like here we talk, it is given from both the strings. If you apply equal force from both the strings, it will not move. So here also, if they apply small force by pushing, this box will not move because of the force being driven opposite. This force is in this direction and friction is in this direction, so both the force are here balanced, so this will not move. Now if they push it harder or bigger force is applied on this box, so it will, this force will surpass the frictional force against it. So you can say that friction force is friction force is small. Now if you apply harder force on this side, the force will unbalanced because the friction is lower and the applied force is higher. So this unbalanced force will create motion. It will move this carton. So you see here there are two kinds of force, balanced force and unbalanced force. And unbalanced force is responsible for motion of any object. Like what happens when we ride a bicycle. If you are riding a bicycle, when you stop pedaling, you are pedaling it. When you stop this pedaling, this bicycle will slows down. Why? Due to friction between the tires and road on the ground. So this friction will act on the bicycle and bicycle will start slowing down. In order to keep this bicycle moving, you have to start pedaling again. So this appears that when object maintains its motion under the continuous application of unbalanced force. You can say that if you want to keep an object in motion, if you want to keep an object moving continuously, you have to apply continuous unbalanced force to keep it moving. But this is quite incorrect because object moves with uniform velocity when the force acting on the object are balanced. Like we have studied that many objects move in uniform velocity when friction and applied force both are balanced, like a car moving on a road with 40 km speed. Now no external force is given to this car and friction is also present. So when this friction and this force from engine, they are balanced, the car moves with uniform velocity. If we now apply unbalanced force, that is we accelerate car, this will change its direction or speed. So here you have seen that balanced force can also keep an object moving. So you can say that to accelerate any object we need a unbalanced force. So now you have studied that motion is caused by an applied force. So now let us study the first law of motion, because this chapter is not only about force, it is also about laws of motion. So let us study the first law of motion. So first law of motion can be described by Galileo Galilei. This was the scientist who lived in between this time, or you can say around 16th century. He argued that when a ball or a marble is released from this inclined plane, this is inclined plane, not straight plane. When a marble is released from this inclined plane, the force is not given, it is just released from this point, but it will attain a velocity when it hit the ground. So you can say that it will move from here to here because of unbalanced force of gravity, which we will study in next lecture. But you are quite aware of the gravitation force of our earth. So because of this gravitation force, this marble will start moving on this inclined plane. But Galileo said that once he hit the ground and there is another inclined plane in front of this marble will start moving on this plane also and reaches the height when from where it was released. So if it is released from this height, it will start rolling on this inclined plane and start rolling on other inclined plane also and reaches the height from which it was released. If you release from here, it will move up to here. If you release it from here, it will reach up to here only. If you release it from the top, it will reach the top. So he says that when a marble is released from an inclined plane, it will reach the height of this plane from which it was released. If there is no inclined plane in front of this from which it is released, it will start moving on the surface until it reaches this height, or you can say that until it has a force of this inclined plane. But practically this is not possible that marble will keep moving on this surface until it reaches this height due to presence of unbalanced force of friction. Friction will act here to stop this marble moving on this plane surface. So after this, Newton studied this whole studies of Galileo or Galileo's ideas of force and motion and presented three fundamental laws of motion or laws of motion of object. So these three laws of motion are now called as Newton's laws of motion. So this first law of motion is a part of Newton's laws of motion. So first law of motion states that the object remains in a state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. Or you can say that it states that the object will remain at rest or uniform motion until applied force is given or until it is applied by an force. Like this marble will keep moving on this plane and on this surface unless friction is applied. So friction is also a force. Due to friction it will stop moving. So if a object is at rest, it will stay at rest until a force is given to keep it in motion, or if a object is moving, it will keep moving until a force is applied on this object to stop. So this is the common thing we know, but it is the first law of motion that an object remains in state of rest or uniform motion and in a straight line until a force is applied on this object. So this is the first law of motion. But you can also say that this object resists the change, or this object has something that keep it like the way it is present. If we are at rest or anything present on the surface it is at rest, there is something in this object which keeps it in rest unless a force is applied on this object. So this something which keeps it at rest is called as inertia. We will study about this inertia and other laws of motion in our next lecture. Thank you, students.